Hello everyone, this is just a simple tutorial on, the best settings for Rainbow Six Siege, especially for beginners and, you know, trying to get into a competitive setting. These are the settings I have, and I hope you guys enjoy. What you want to do is go into the gear icon on the top right corner of your screen, go to Options. We're going to start at General. Me personally, when having your display performance metrics, this shows your FPS down here in the bottom left corner. This will let you know what your frames are, your ping, without having to press tab, anything like that. Your graphics latency. These are for people that tend to want to know a little bit more about how their system's doing. I personally would have it off or on minimal. If you want to have it a little bit more advanced, this will tell you your frames drop percentage. So if it starts dropping, it'll let you know. If this drops or goes up, it'll let you know. Same stuff, especially with these over here. What I would personally say is to have it on minimal or off. I personally would have it on minimal. That's on me though. Going all the way to connectivity feedback, what we're going to do is have it on icons only or default. What these just will do is tell you if how your internet's doing, if you get hit rejected, frame issues, packet loss, jitter, latency. These are definitely a must-have for, icons or default. This will just let you know if your internet's having any issues or, hit rejected, like a quick little thing to show that, why they didn't die, some stuff like that. I personally have my stun VFX on dark glare. This will change how your game looks when you get flashbanged. What it does is just change it from white flashbang to a dark glare, which is pretty simple to have. I personally have it on dark glare, but white glare works too. Tinnitus SFX, this doesn't really change how your game performs in terms of audio. You can have it on ringing or muted. You can also have it on wave, but none of these will give you any performance increases in terms of audio. These won't give you an advantage. All they do is just make it easier in your ears, or if the certain ringing hurts your ears a tad, you can have it unmuted or have it like wave, which I personally think wave is a little bit different than ringing, but not by much. Next, I definitely would say diffuser pickup. Definitely have that on both. What this does is if it's on automatic, you have to walk over it, and that might be kind of dangerous, especially in situations where defenders might be watching the diffuser, and you're gonna have to collect it to plant it in a certain area. Manual, what this does is that you have to press F to interact with the diffuser, and that might be, an issue sometimes, especially if you can't get it. I would either have it on manual though, or both. I personally have it on both because automatic pickup, if someone drops it, I don't have to worry about it, like me having to turn around, press F to pick it up. I definitely would have it on both just for that reason, just in case. Next, visible throw trajectory. I 100% would have that on. Especially because of the fact that if you're trying to do a C4 lineup or throw ace charges or flashbangs, this definitely helps a lot because you get a visible line of where your item might end up. So this is a must-have for me personally. I would say I have it on just so you have a little more help when doing something. I think that's a really good feature that they've added within the past couple of seasons, so definitely have this on. Drone after prep, I have this on manual. When it's on automatic, what it basically does is as soon as prep phase ends, you'll hop off your drone, which might leave your drone vulnerable, especially when trying to get away from the defenders and you're kicked off your drone, which then you end up might be losing your drone, and then now you don't have any intel. Semi-automatic. This, I would personally say, is a lot better than automatic, but I definitely have it on manual. Semi-automatic, automatic, basically all it does is exit any tools, like if you're watching someone else's drone, or something like that after prep phase, it'll get you off the drone if it's not yours, and I feel like that might be a little, dangerous to do, especially when trying to watch someone's drone for something, and it might kick you off. So 100% have it on manual, just so you have more control over it and whatnot. Text chat channel, this is up to you. You can have it on team or all. I personally have it on all, especially if you want to, chat with the opponents, get in their heads and whatnot. Definitely have it on all. But if you want to focus on your own team's comms, if, voice chat doesn't work and whatnot, 100% have it on team or all. Going off to the HUD, I have it on normal. These are all just basic settings. These just tell you your health. On the bottom here, you can have it just number or off. It won't show your health or anything. Number only, it'll just show the number, leaving the bar, the white bar gone. Or you can have on, which will show the full bar and number. Stance indicator, that's up to you. That just shows either your crawl, when you crawl, lay down, or just start walking. This will just show the bar when you're bleeding out. Again, that's up to you. This is, I feel like critical warnings is really good to have, especially when it lets you know if you're being spotted. If you don't really want to get alerted and would rather have more focus, I definitely would have this off, but on is 100% the play for that. These, I just have all normal. Oh yeah, make sure that you have ally outlines and enemy outlines on. These help give them a little hue from their surroundings, give you a little more assistance, especially if you're hard of eyes or eyesight. So that would definitely help. Going over to audio, I have English since I'm English speaking, but that's up to you guys. Subtitles, I have this on just why not? I mean, that doesn't really cause any performance issues. That's for me personally, though. If you don't want to really see text on your screen when gadgets are being thrown, interactions, whatnot, they're definitely something you could have off or on. That's completely up to you guys. Dynamic range, I have it on low, but you can have it up to high, which might make it a little higher sound or lower sound. I have it on lower because it makes, I think it makes them a little quieter, which I feel like is really good, especially when you're trying to listen to the footsteps, especially people nearby. I personally feel like that's better for me. So I have it on low, but you can have it on high, and it changes the audio just a tad to make it a little bit louder. Well, enemy movements are more dynamic and responsive, but I feel like low's definitely a little bit better for me personally. I have my master volume at 65, but that's depending on how you guys want to have it. You can have it up to 100, which just makes it a lot louder, of course. I have it at 65 just to distinguish teammate callouts, especially in voice chat. And then for that, I have, voice chat volume at 89. I have push to talk. And then I have my input sensitivity at 30. And the volume, stuff like that. Just as long as they can hear me clearer without, muffling, especially if you had 100, it won't really pick it up as good. At all, actually, as what this says. So I definitely have it at 30, just so it has a good mix. And if you want voiceover presets, that's completely up to you. This adds cool little interactions when you spawn as an attacker, one-to-one conversations from other characters based off of who you play. I think it's a cool little feature, but again, this has no competitive things for you, so I think that's completely up to you. Heading over to display. I run borderless, but I think I keep my hertz the same, even though it says it's at 60. I think I still run at 165. I don't think it changes anything, but if it does, I'd 100% go to windowed, full screen, or just full screen. It's my personal preference. Aspect ratio, I have it on 4:3. This just makes it a little bit wider and distinct, like wider and taller, as you can see. Auto is just basically your native resolution. Mine's 1910 or 1080p, so I have it on that, but I try to have it on 4:3 or 5:4. 5:4 just makes it a little more squished, which might help you in certain scenarios, but I think 4:3 is definitely the best one to go for, from what I think. When playing, I definitely would have VSync off and FPS limit off. What VSync does is it prevents screen tearing and allows it to run off your hertz, but this might increase a little bit of delay on your side, and, you know, especially in Siege, delay is a huge part in Siege, and if you have higher delay, then you're going to lose a lot of your gunfights and stuff like that, so I definitely would have VSync off. Heading over to field of view, I have this maxed out at 90. This allows you to have a bigger screen, like a view. But for me, that's what I personally prefer, is at 90 over 60. Definitely a lot better. HUD display area, this just shows the screen where stuff are at. If you try and change it, it'll just bring these bars up. Especially when you're in game, you'll have your thing show up here that will get smaller as well. So I definitely have it a little bit lower just to distinguish it. And it's completely up to you. And then you can kind of squish it out, widen it out. But again, that's completely up to you. This has no performance changes from what I'm aware of. But that's it. Heading over to graphics. I have NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency on and with boost. I feel like this allows more delay to be put down to the lower side. Increases responsiveness, and overall I think that's a really good setting to have on if you can. From what I know of, it's at 30 series or higher, especially when you go down to NVIDIA Deep Learning Super Sampling, also known as DLSS. I definitely would have that on either balanced or off, depending on the system. This can add a little bit delay, but if you're having a little performance issues, especially in CPU-bound situations or graphics-bound, I would definitely have it unbalanced on DLSS. But that's me personally. If you want to have as low of delay possible, I would definitely have this set to off. Heading up to these other ones, texture quality I have low, because in terms of when performance matters, texture quality, you're not really looking at it. It don't matter if it's a little blurry, to me at least. I feel like this allows more frames, especially because when you're going around, you're not rendering as much of higher details, which helps a lot. For texture VRAM limit, I have it on maximum. What this just does is gives it more movability with this, but it does use more CPU. So if you don't really want to have that, you can lower it, but it also lowers your VRAM, which might cost performance as well. Texture filtering, I have it linear, which is considered the fastest. Anti-strophic filtering enhances the quality by reducing blurring when textures are displayed at oblique viewing angles. What that just means is, depending on where you're looking, it reduces how blurry they are, from what I understand. but me personally, I just have it on linear, which is considered the fastest, and I feel like this is also best for your performance. Heading over to LOD quality, I have this at high. This basically just adjusts the distance at which lower level of detail meshes are. So if you're looking at a certain area, the meshes might be a little lower quality, especially on lower settings. So I have it on high. Prevents it from looking blurry, pixelated, stuff like that, especially from afar. Heading over to shading and shadow quality, I personally have this on both high and reflection on low. Same with VFX quality. Definitely make sure you have lens effects and zoom in depth of field off. What those basically do is if you have glare or other stuff in your eyes, it might cause harder visuals, especially to see from afar with the sun glares and whatnot. What shadow and shading does is all it does is increase the shadows of like the player entities and whatnot, which might give you a huge boost in seeing opponents walk in and whatnot. So better to have a good quality for those, especially with performance and also other stuff in terms of competitive settings. Heading over to controls, I have my drone speed on hold. That's completely up to you, but I feel like having it on hold allows more precision for it. Raw input, mouse and keyboard. This improves reactivity. So if you were to do something, it might make it a little bit quicker. From what I know, it has no delay. Or it has delay, but it helps with any delay that you might be receiving from your keyboard or mouse. Mouse horizontal and vertical at 26, but these completely range off of how you play. Nobody ever has the perfect sense, so you don't need to worry about what mine is. You don't need to worry about what others are. For these, personally, you definitely want to have at whatever you're most comfortable with, especially with your DPI. And if you guys want to try mine out though, it's 26 horizontal and vertical. And then these are my mouse ADS sensitivities. I'll give you a minute to go through them. Okay. That's it for controls. These are all just the same. I have aim on hold and lean on toggle. Depending on how you play, toggle is probably the best. Crouch and prone toggle. Walk is hold. Accessibility, again, these ones will all completely be up to you. Definitely go off of what works best for you, especially for your team and the opposite team. You definitely want to have a color that stands out the enemy team's colors a lot better, especially with claymores, other gadgets and whatnot. But again, these are all personal preferences for these. You don't need to have anything specific. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope these help you guys get used to settings. I hope these are good enough and whatnot. I hope to see you guys in a new one. Bye-bye.